Hello, Seeker Squad. Today, we're going to be doing something different. No spare box today. We're still doing the spare boxes. Those are not going away. Don't worry. But I figured since you guys want more content, I want to put out more content. And I don't always have the time to go out to the cemeteries and talk to spirits, that we could do something different. And maybe do strange, weird, and odd stories. So, if you guys like this, we can do this maybe every other Wednesday or every Wednesday, or we can figure it out. We got to see how this first one goes. And today, we're starting out with Mike the Headless Chicken. Now, the way this story starts, there's two different versions. Both start in 1945 in Fruita, Colorado, with farmer Lloyd Olson. One version says that Lloyd was going to cook a dinner for his mother-in-law and his wife, and so he went out to the barn to get a chicken to prepare for dinner. He cut the head off the chicken, and now it's not unusual for a chicken to flop around for a little bit after the head has been taken off. But this was different. Not only was the chicken flopping around, it was still walking. Although it was clumsily walking, it was still walking. He found that a little bit odd. And he left the chicken alone for the night. Now, the other version is that just like any other farmer, Lloyd sold chicken, eggs, milk, just like any normal farmer does. And so, while preparing the chickens to be sold, he, took the head off the chickens. But this one particular chicken, at the end of the shift, at the end of preparing everything, was still walking around. So, he left the chicken alone. Same thing as that one. He left the chicken alone. And the next day, when the chicken was still walking around, he said, let's see, there's something about this chicken who's walking around with no head. Let's see if we can keep this chicken alive. And that's where the story of Mike the Headless Chicken begins. Now, to care for this chicken, Lloyd fed the chicken a mixture of milk and water with an eyedropper and gave the chicken small grains of corn and worms daily to keep him alive. And it was at this point he decided to name the chicken Mike. Word began to spread quickly to the locals about this miraculous chicken living with his head cut off, and they all gathered at the Olson farm to see it for themselves. One day, a promoter went to the farm to see the chicken named Hope Wade, and he convinced the Olsons to bring the chicken to the University of Utah so the scientists there could document that there was, in fact, a living headless chicken. The scientists at the university were able to determine that Mike the Headless Chicken was able to be alive because one ear, the jugular vein, and most of the brainstem was still intact, and a lucky blood clot kept the chicken from bleeding out. Local Utah papers caught wind of the headless chicken and printed it on the front page that he was in town for a visit. And everybody wanted to come see the chicken for themselves, so a small sideshow was set up where people gathered and were able to view the chicken for a small fee. Life magazine caught wind of the story of Mike the Headless Chicken and flew to Utah to take pictures of the chicken for themselves, which was featured in the October 1945 edition of the magazine. Now, the next stop for Mike the Headless Chicken, the sideshow on the boardwalk of Long Beach, California. A ticket to see Mike was 25 cents, which is equivalent to about $4.20 today. At his peak, Mike was bringing in up to 600 people a day, earning $4,500 a month, which is equivalent to about $75,000 today. At his peak, Mike the Chicken was valued at $10,000, which today would equal about $169,000 for a chicken without a head. That's pretty crazy. Now, this Long Beach sideshow was not Mike's only stop. He also went to the southeast of the USA and to Phoenix, Arizona. And when Mike was not on display on sideshows, he was just living his life like a normal chicken back at the Olsen family farm. Now, if Mike was healthy and growing like a normal chicken, how'd he die? That's a good question. And Mike's death was surrounded with mystery for many, many years. After a sideshow in Phoenix, Arizona in 1947, Lloyd told everybody that he had sold Mike the Headless Chicken to another promoter and he was still doing sideshows throughout the whole country. However, that was not the complete truth, and the truth did not come out until the 80s when Lloyd told his grandson that day after the sideshow in Phoenix, Arizona, in a motel, Mike passed away by choking on mucus. Now, it was common for Mike the Chicken to get mucus in his throat, but they had a syringe to clear it. But unfortunately, on this day, Lloyd had forgotten the syringe at the sideshow, and before they could clear his throat, Mike passed away by suffocation. However, that was not the end of Mike the Headless Chicken, because still to this day in Fruita, Colorado, Mike the Headless Chicken is remembered with the Mike the Headless Chicken Festival, which is held the first weekend of June every year. They have 5K races, statues, great food, and it looks like a great time when I looked it up. So his legacy still continues till this day. Alright, Secret Squad, let me know how you feel about this strange, weird, and odd story, and if you would like to see more, put it in the comments and we can keep doing this every Wednesday if that's what you guys like. Alright, I will see you in the next one.